Hey everyone, this is Silvermode with the Grindspot. Today we're going to take a look at Summoner Healing, give a quick guide. We'll take a look at the skills, the Astral blessings and the Glyphs, and the setup that I'm currently using. I'm here in my residence. At level 4 residence, you get training dummies, one of which is a healing training dummy. So we'll use this today to take a look at our healing skills. So we press K, that'll bring up our skills window. And we'll take our rundown through our skills here. First thing to note about Summoner Healing is that we are a heal over time class. That means we don't do all our healing instantly to our target. We spread that healing over time. So you need to be aware of that and plan your heals accordingly when you know damage is coming in. So our first skill is Healing Light. This is a standard hot. We'll place it on a target. Cast it on our dummy here. And we can see that it's doing some healing. All right, it'll heal over time. So that was a crit heal, that's 692. This skill can only be placed on one target at a time. So you can heal it with one player at a time. Now it can stack up to 3 times. For each stack, it'll do a bit more healing. So at 3 stacks, you get the full effect of it. This is gonna last for about 6 seconds on the target. One nice thing to note about this is we can see our buff here as it's timing down, is if we recast our heal on the target, it refreshes that 6-second timer. So that means we don't have to cast it 3 times to get that full stack of buffs up on there. Once it's rolling, we can just toss this occasionally, right? And that'll keep that buff running, keep that heal rolling. So our next heal we have is Healing Mist. Healing Mist is a secondary dot, right? Or secondary hot. We can cast this on a target and see it works a lot like our Healing Light, right? It seems to be doing basically the same thing. However, this can be placed on multiple targets. So we have 4 charges of this, meaning we can cast it 4 times in a row before we run out of the ability to cast it. So we can have this running on 4 different people at the same time. This lasts for 9 seconds on the target, and it's about 3.5 seconds to recharge or to get another charge of the cast. So every 3.5 seconds, you'll be able to get casted again. All right, the next up on our list is Heavy Mist. Heavy Mist works in conjunction with Healing Mist. Heavy Mist on its own, we'll see here, doesn't do anything. All right, Heavy Mist is useless on its own. However, if we have Healing Mist on our target, and then we cast Heavy Mist, notice the Healing Mist went away, and they got a bit of a heal. So let's do that again. Get a heal for 1138. What's happening here is it's consuming our Healing Mist charge on that target and healing them for 70% of the effect of Healing Mist. All right, so whatever amount is left on the heal, 70% of that heal is going to apply instantly. So this is a great way if DPS, let's say, are being really smart and standing in the bad stuff, and you need to get them topped up quickly rather than wait for the tick. If you drop your Healing Mist and then you hit Heavy Mist, that's going to instantly consume your Healing Mist and give them that health right away. Whirling River. So Whirling River is one of our oh crap buttons. This will instantly heal for 1125 health. It also gives the target a buff that reduces the damage they take by 8%. And if you're in PvP, you, the healer yourself, you also get a buff that you'll take 25% less damage from players. So this is a nice PvP one if you're using out there. So we'll just take a quick look at what this looks like. So you get a little chain, you get 1125. This has a 40-second cooldown. So this is one of our few instant heals, but it's on a bigger cooldown, and it can help reduce damage. So this is good if your tank just took a big hit. You need to give them a little bit of instant healing, giving your hots time to do their work. With the reduced damage they're taking, that gives your hots a chance to finish topping up the tank. All right, so the next one we're going to need our pet out for. So this is Mulo. We'll talk about Mulo in a little bit. We can command Mulo to perform a heal. All right, so that's this skill here, Mulo Protection. This comes in a couple different variants we'll talk about in a minute when we look at Astral Blessings. But this particular version is going to drop an instant heal, a large instant heal, and apply some shielding to the target. So that shielding, it will absorb damage before it's going to take damage off their HP bar. So it's 882 shield. and 2060 healing with my current gear. Keep in mind that all of these skills and the amount of healing that's done on them are affected by your gear. And we can take a look at what stats affect that after we look at the skills. So here we can see it at 2060. And unfortunately, the training dummy doesn't show the shield because it's always at lower health. But if you look at a player, you would see a white bar over their health indicating that amount is shielded. All right, next one, this is a big one, Sun Moon Flowers. Sun Moon Flowers is an optional skill that we get from our first Astral Blessing here. I'm not going to talk too much about these other options because Sun Moon Flower is just that good. To me, it's the only viable choice in this list. When you cast Sun Moon Flowers on teammates, so here, that gives them a buff, doing a little bit of healing here. But Sun Moon Flowers, what this does is when your DPS are attacking a target, they're going to get a percentage of the damage they're doing back as health. This is huge. You can, after a big hit out across the group, you can toss this out, boom, watch their health bars go right back up. You don't ever have to toss a heal on them. They'll take care of themselves. This has 2 stacks on it, 2 charges with it. The charges refresh about every 52 seconds. So my current is 51.3 with my amount of haste. It lasts for 15 seconds. It also, as you saw with the little health tick that's on there, this also applies Healing Mist at the same time. So remember, Healing Mist was our heal here. All right, so if we toss this out, we'll wait for this to fall off here. We're going to see that they get a Healing Mist charge on them. Okay, so here's Healing Mist. Now, if we combine that with Heavy Mist, we can consume our Healing Mist to do a chunk of healing immediately while they still have the buff to get heals while they're doing damage. So this is a great way to apply your Healing Mist across an entire group, consume it right away to get them topped up a bit, right? Get them out of a danger zone, and then let them finish healing up with the return healing from the damage they're doing. Okay, Sky Mending. Sky Mending is our get out of jail free card. Right? It even says free, huh? So Sky Mending, it breaks any crowd control effect that's on us and makes us immune to that effect for 6 seconds. Right? So if we get stunned, we can break out of the stun and we're immune to that stun effect for the next 6 seconds, so we can't get immediately re-stunned. Perfume is another Astral Blessing affected skill. So here are Astral Blessings. We can see Perfume. So you can pick different variants. This is another one that Mulo is going to cast for us. With the Perfume variant that I am using, this gives everyone in your team, well, everyone in the team within 20 meters. So if you're running a 5-man group, that's going to be 5 man. If you're in a 10-man group and you're close enough, that's going to be all 10 people. This gives everyone in there a 3% mastery buff. Now, mastery, its effect is different for each class, so they'll want to look at what that does for class. For us, mastery is going to increase our healing, right? So it increases Healing Light and Healing Mist by 8.6%. So if we're in a jam and we need to get us extra healing, this helps it. What I typically use this for, though, is when you're in a boss fight and the golden shell has just been broken. If you pop this, boom, all your DPS are doing extra damage, right? This is also really good at a large trash pull. So your tank will group up 15, 20 mobs as you're running through a dungeon. You hit this, it'll help everybody mow through that trash really quickly. So this is just a nice support buff. It indirectly helps our healing, but I don't find its best use is for our healing. It's better for buffing the rest of the team. Now, we can change this to some other variants here, which more directly affect our healing, such as Breeze. Breeze, in this case, makes Mulo heal for more, and while the Breeze buff is active, we're going to regenerate some mana. Mulo heals for so little to start with. It's like 1 to 3% of our total healing in a dungeon run. I don't find this effective. I personally don't run this. I know some other healers really prefer this option. I don't understand why they would. If you're out there and you're running a summoner healer and you prefer this option, I'd be very interested to hear why. If we look at Blossom, this is it takes on red and blue, and Breeze turns into Blossom. So Breeze turns into the Blossom skill. Blossom's effect is the target becomes faster and gains immunity to slowing. More importantly, it removes a debuff from your target. It also increases the target's healing buff received from Mulo's master, which is us, right? By 30% in PvP combat. So immediately you could say, this is only good in PvP, it only increases healing in PvP. However, the first part of that, you lift the target's debuff during battle. This gives you a secondary way to clear a debuff off a target. Look at the hidden spider boss, where they're dropping all of these debuffs out, that if that stack gets too high, you start dropping poison pools yourself. We need to clear those. Sometimes you can get in a little bind with our standard debuff clear here, which we'll talk about a bit, Orchard Scent, and you need a second way to do this. This is really helpful in that fight. This can help you get an extra clear out. So consider switching this when you need to. I typically run Perfume all the time. If it's in a pinch, I might go to Blossom. I never use Breeze. Even though it's the PvE recommended by the system, I don't use it. I find Perfume to be much better. All right, so moving on down, we have Floral Cloak. So Floral Cloak will reduce the damage that your target takes, puts 3 stacks of a shield on them, which will absorb the damage that they would have taken for that hit. The side effect of this is you will restore, if you hit Alt on any of these skills, you can see the extra text. This will restore some of your MP when Floral Cloak charges on the target have been expended. So once they've been hit 3 times and all 3 of those shields are broken, you're going to get some MP back. So this also helps you a little bit. The bigger portion of this is that it's going to reduce the damage on your target. I like to use this when a tank is pulling multiple groups of mobs and they're now stopping. You've been running along with them. They've got 10 mobs on them. They're probably at half health or less when they finally stop. I usually hit this, get their healing rolling on them. This gives me a second to start getting them back up, keep them from dying, and then we're good to go. Days and Flowers. This is another big reason I don't run Breeze. Days and Flowers is excellent. So this is our mana regen. In my current gear, this will recharge almost 6,500 mana of our 8,000. So we can drain ourselves down to a couple thousand mana, be perfectly safe, hit this, we're good to go. This has a 110-second cooldown, so just shy of 2 minutes. It is a channeled skill. It takes about 4 seconds to cast. So if you are interrupted while you're casting this, you are not going to get the full MP regen. Now this skill sounds good on its own right now, meaning we're never going to run out of mana. However, if we hit this Alt key, we get hit by a wall of text. What this wall of text is saying is if you read through it, we are also buffing everybody in the team that we target with 6 different buffs that have different effects based on the class they're on. These buffs last for about 6 seconds on the target. All right, moving on, we've got Patting Kitten. So this is telling our pet Mulo here, hey, go heal this person. So if we hit this, so now Mulo's gonna chase around the totem that doesn't ever move, our healing dummy, and she's just gonna toss out a little bit of healing. We can see that there's a buff on there, Mulo. This is how we know that when we're looking at our party frames that we have Mulo targeted on this person. See, Mulo doesn't do a whole lot of healing, but it helps. This is what I was saying before. Mulo is about 1 to 3% of our healing on any given dungeon run. Soothing Daylight. Soothing Daylight is another, what I consider group oh crap button. This is a ground targeted heal. Meaning, so when we cast this, we're going to get a targeting reticle here. Let's get our skills window out of the way. Where we can place this where we want. All right, so you need to remember this. When you're in the heat of battle, running and dodging, when you go to hit this skill, you're going to need to target this. If you do this real quick, you're going to end up just targeting on yourself. That may or may not be what you want. The circle that it's showing here, the outer ring, is smaller than what this total effect will be. So keep that in mind as well. So let's go ahead and place this down. As we can see, this effect is quite a bit larger, and it is the visual range. So if I get just inside here, I'm starting to get healed. So this does a heal over time for anyone in the area of this heal. It has a 100-second cooldown, so we can't spam it out. We need to be careful when we choose to use it. However, it is a very important part of our toolkit when we're running, especially in a 10-man, and we need to get everybody healed up. Everyone that's in here is going to get a 142 point heal per tick. It also has the effect of reducing damage taken by 5% for everyone that's in there. So not only are we going to heal them, they're going to take less damage, and it regenerates 99 points of shield per second for everyone that's in there. So that's up to about 1,000 shield. I typically drop this when I know either A, there's a large amount of damage incoming, or B, we've taken a large amount of damage. Returning Sunset. Returning Sunset is a safety net for us. This is an AoE stun, and it also deals a small amount of damage. So if, let's say when the tank is grabbing a bunch of mobs, we got, they pulled 15 or 20 mobs, they're trying their best to get them all secured up and get aggro on them, but you've got to drop heals before the tank dies, right? You've got to put them down. This can be our saving grace, right? If we run up next to the tank with the mobs that are chasing us, we stun them there, we get the heck out of the way, gives the tank a chance to get them, and it gives us a second to top the health up on the tank, get us out of trouble. Spirit Dove. Again, this is another get the heck out of the way skill. So we have our normal dodge, which is called Flying Goose, right? Which is on an 8-second cooldown. So with that, movement key and shift, we'll do our dodge. Spirit Dove is on a 17-second cooldown. But if we tap this jumps us back, gets us out of the way. So remember, you're going to jump back. You jump back about 10 meters. It'll get you out of the way for that. Again, this is handy for dragging stuff to the tank, jumping back out of it then, etc. Blazing Sun. This is another one of my favorite skills. So it's on a 68-second cooldown. Again, remember, cooldowns are affected by our haste, so your values may be a bit different than mine. This will cast on up to 10 team members, right? So 10 people in your group. It's a channeled skill. It takes about 2 seconds to cast. While you're casting this, you're going to be doing a heal on them, right? Every tick of this is going to heal 225 points. So every 1.5 seconds, essentially, you're going to get this off. After you're done casting it, there's also a regeneration effect that kicks in for another 244 points of healing. Unfortunately, this is tough to show off in here because the training dummy isn't considered as being in our team, and therefore we can't see anything that happens here. Since this is a channeled skill, though, if you are interrupted while you're casting this, you're not going to get the full benefits out of it. So just keep them in mind. If you hover over the skill as well, you can see the area that this is going to cover. See things tint a little bit blue here. That's the radius in which it will hit teammates. So keep that in mind when you go to cast it. Orchard Scent is our debuff clearer. This will remove a debuff from the target. Pretty straightforward. 8-second cooldown, 25-meter range, nothing fancy here. Yang Curse. This is another get out of jail sort of card for us. This reduces the damage we take by 70%. Last but not least, we have Solitary Light. This just tells Mulo to go away. We're done with Mulo for now. Okay, so we've talked about the skills. Let's take a look at my Astral Blessing choices. So we already covered Sun Moonflower. We're not going to worry about Coalescence or Flowers in Full Bloom. Moonlit Protection. Okay, so here's a real choice that you can make here. This is a big decision. So we talked about the heal that Mulo can put out. I'm running Mulo's Protection, right? So this is here. And this is actually what the guide recommends for PvE and PvP. This is our big instant heal, puts a shield on a target. The downside here is this costs 640 mana. Right, so even though it could be cast every 14 seconds, 14 and a half seconds, you're not going to do that at a cost of 640 mana. No, this becomes an oh crap button when we use this, right? It's too expensive. If we switch this to Mulo Healing, now this becomes a 25-second cooldown, but it only costs 80 mana, and it's an about 1,100 point heal. So it's up to you. I ran Mulo Healing for quite a while and was just fine with it. Mulo Protection, though, I prefer for that oh crap moment. The tank's about to die, a DPS got targeted by a boss, something like that. I prefer Mulo Protection. Try it yourself, see what you think. So then we have Healing Flush and Falling Clouds. Both PvE and PvP recommended is Healing Flush. Healing Flush it's a passive that improves Healing Mist. All right, so here's our Healing Mist. That's our hot that we placed on a target. This improves that healing that it does by 12%. It also says, if the target doesn't already have Healing Light, so this is our one target only heal, it's going to put 2 stacks of that on right away instead of 1. So this means saves us 1 cast of Healing Light to get the full 3 stack. Saves us time, saves us mana. I'm down with that. Thirdly, if the target's HP falls to 30% while Healing Mist is running, right? So while Healing Mist is on there, the remaining portion of that heal is immediately applied to the target, right? So it becomes an instant heal instead of a hot. Whatever's left of that hot, they're instantly healed for. This is just a good all-arounder that you really don't have to think about. A nice passive skill that helps you out. All right, so Falling Clouds is another passive. It transforms our Healing Mist skill, so this is our targetable hot here that we have, into a skill called Healing Mist, so Heavy Mist to Healing Mist. It increases the healing that it does by 30%. So that's a pretty decent jump. Heavy Mist causes the Healing Light effect, so this is our first one, to be applied to nearby targets with 70% of the remaining healing being applied immediately. It also increases the number of casts we have of our Heavy Mist to 5 from 4 and reduces the cooldown to 4 seconds. So normally it's a 6 second to recharge, pulls it down to 4. This is not a bad option at all. Clouds Opening. Clouds Opening is another passive. We don't have to think about it. It just increases the healing of our Blazing Sun. So this is our channeled cast, right? That puts our heal out by 5%. Straight up easy, it's just more healing. Sunny Again increases the cooldown of Blazing Sun, right? So instead of being 68 seconds, it's going to be about 75 seconds with my haste. And it will affect 20 targets. We don't have 20 people in our groups right now. Not very helpful. With the upcoming raid, that might be. Take a look at it again then. We've already talked about Perfume. Perfume is my choice here. All right, so let's take a quick look at our glyphs. So the glyphs I'm running first are Solar Rider. Solar Rider affects Blazing Sun. Teams are provided with immunity to injury for 8 seconds for 10% of the skill. So this is a bit of shielding essentially that's applied to them while that is being cast. We do have some other glyph options we can take a look at. So Returned Bird. This works with our Spirit Dove. This is our dash back to get out of trouble. When we use this, let's go ahead and just slot this in here, is if Spirit Dove is in cooldown, after you use Flying Goose, so if you've dodged and then you've used Spirit Dove, you should be able to dodge again within 2 seconds. I've not managed to get this one to work at all, so I don't use it. Flying Figure is another Spirit Dove transformation. I have used this. I've used it when I've been messing with PvP. So this lets us tap Spirit Dove. It's going to leave a light. Tap Spirit Dove again, it takes us right back. So this is just another improvement on our dodge skill. In PvP, I find this helpful. Add us a little extra mobility and get us out of trouble. All right, another option here, and these back to our healing, is Light Willow Catkin. If you're running Willow Protection, so this is our insta heal, that's going to reduce the mana cost of that by 3%. So remember, this is our high cost 640, so we'll take 3% off that. If you're running the healing version of the Willow skill, the cooldown for it is reduced by 4%. So you'll be able to cast it a little faster. Through the Flowers, this works on Orchard Scent. So Orchard Scent is our debuff remover. This increases the movement speed of the target that you remove the debuff on by 50% for 4 seconds. Now, even though the cooldown on Orchard is every 8 seconds, the movement speed increase is only going to take effect every 60 seconds. So if you're re-clearing the same person frequently, they're not going to keep getting that movement speed increase. It only apply once every 60 seconds. Distance Mist, to be real honest here, this one confuses the heck out of me. The wording doesn't make sense, and I haven't been able to make heads or tails out of its effect in using it. But what it says here is if targets 2 and 3 have Healing Light. So here's our Healing Light. This is our single target application skill, right? We can apply it to 1. If we try to apply it to somebody else, it gets removed from the first person. So I'm confused about targets 2 and 3. But if targets 2 and 3 have Healing Light, this effect is increased by 5% or 10%. Which is it, 5 or 10? Is it trying to say if it's 2 targets, it's by 5, and if it's by 3, it's 10? How did targets 2 and 3 get healing light? I'm going to guess that's as if we had socketed a separate skill over here, Falling Clouds, to push that skill off to other players as well. I don't run Falling Clouds, so I'm definitely not running that glyph. I've played with it some. It doesn't, yeah, I don't know. If you have better luck with this, please let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear how it works for you. First flower. So this works with Floral Cloak. This is our shield that we drop on the tank. It increases the cooldown by 25%. Increases the cooldown, so we have to wait longer to use it. The shield charges changes to 1 stack for 6 seconds instead of 3 stacks. Well, so far this sounds like it's all bad. If the target, right, so the target is healed and my own mana is regenerated with every second, it increases the target's total hit points by 20% and regenerates that 20% of health. Okay, so now we're getting some mana back. It turns into a 20% heal, essentially. Okay, that's not bad. It also protects the target from fatal damage. Okay, that's really good, right? This would prevent your tank from dying in a really bad situation. When the shield disappears from the target, the final effect is triggered, and the target regenerates 30% of their max HP and most of their MP. So essentially, we can get a 50% heal out of this on a target. Pretty darn good. It's recommended for the PvP, right? It's in the recommended PvP build. I've tried this in PvE and practice at least in PvE, I don't find any use for this. Now, it's important to know that even though this says it's going to prevent death, right? It'll prevent fatal damage. That fatal damage won't be prevented if they were going to take 2 times their total health pool and damage. So that's their entire health, right? So 9386 or 9368 is my total health. If I were to take 18,000 and change damage, I'd die anyway, right? It can't prevent that fatal damage. That's a quick look at Summoner Healing. I hope that helps you out. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. It's been Silvermortar for Grindspot, and thank you for watching.